A huge shout out to the overthinkers.
An overthinker. He watches the show.
To the overthinkers, shout out Buffet too.
All about Fetu, this is Parker, yeah? Thank you, overthinkers.
Keep inspiring the next generation.
Shout out to the overthinkers. Thando kuphela. Much love.
To my overthinkers, mamela ubuchopho ngeke buphume buyakhula nizinja nikhokho yazini as overthink siya overachieve.
I'm stealing that. I've stolen that one. I've stolen it.
And here we go. Welcome everybody to the Overthinking Football Show. My name is George Mokwena. I am your host. The show is on every Monday to Thursday at 7 p.m. And then Fridays, we have a member show at 12:30, guys. We had a watch along last night where we got to watch Bafana versus Algeria at the Stade Nelson Mandela. That is going to be the topic for today that we're going to be speaking about, our review of the game, how we feel about them, and more importantly, how we feel about Hugo Broos, a man who said that he's not leaving. Like, I'm Hugo Broos. He said that, hey, why would he leave such amazing players? That's what he told the players, guys. The show is on, like I said, Monday to Thursday at 7 p.m. If you want to watch any of the previous shows back, they are available in full on YouTube, where we've had some incredible discussions. This week alone, we've spoken about Dr. Irvin khoza, the succession planning, should he retire, what happens there. We've spoken about a bunch of things over the past months and the years that we have been here that I think you would really enjoy watching, and they're available on YouTube in full, where you can hear the people, and if you want to be part of the people that can speak on the show, that add their voices to the show, you have to be following me on TikTok and join me while I'm live on TikTok for those watching on YouTube. Then there'll come a time where I'll say I'm opening up. Bottom of your screen, there'll be a button that says multi-guest. It's got a blue figure hugging a pink figure. Click on that request. I let you in, and you can have your say on the show. And if you do want to have your say a lot more, so I can learn from more of you, because we don't have that much time when we do the show. We do have an official WhatsApp group that is available, where we banter, where it's open 24/7. Khona ma video, khona ma picture, khona ma nickname, khona zonke lezinto. If you want to be part of that WhatsApp group, head on over to YouTube, click on subscribe, and then click on join, and you'll get access to the WhatsApp group, where you'll have 24/7 access to not just me, but some of the other smartest people that I've been able to meet on this journey of the Overthinking Football. Now, on to the actual game. I think last night's game was one of the most entertaining games we have seen in a very long time. I think Algeria and Bafana came to this game and they showed that even friendlies, weird friendlies in the middle of the international breaks can be very interesting and exciting. Remember, Algeria is, I believe it's seventh in Africa, and then also South Africa, here we go. Algeria is 7th in Africa. We are 10th. They are 43rd in the world, while we are 58th. They, of course, 2 years ago, or 2019, sorry, 5 years ago, were the winners of the AFCON. So this is a very serious team. They were playing at home due to this FIFA series. And the game ended 3-3, where we saw that man, Themba Zwane, come to the party as only Themba Zwane can do when he is fresh, when he's up for it. He was really up for it, scoring 2 goals, one of which was one of the most incredible goals that has been scored by a Bafana player. But then, what's his name? Penrama came off of the bench and gave us a tap-up overhead kick, which was also very incredible. So it ended 3-3. We had 12 shots versus Algeria's 13. 5 of our shots were on target versus Algeria's 7. We had 54% of the possession, more passes. Pass accuracy was all the same. And overall, it was a very good game. We did see some new faces coming into the team and getting some game time. Apolis is one of the names that were mentioned, but also Reina's actually getting some game time. Long-time squad members actually getting some game time. But man of the moment, Mokwena, has shown us what it means to take the game, to take your chance, to take an opportunity as soon as you get it. With him Mokwena being able to get that 3rd goal, which was very incredible to watch. I want to hear more from you guys. I'm going to open it up. Please remember that you have to be following me on TikTok in order to join me live and add your voice to the show. So let me open it up, and then I will see who's here And I can hear from you guys what you guys thought about this game that we played. Guys, remember, just jump in. You don't need to be special. You don't need to be, it's not meant for certain people. It's open for everybody. Feel free to jump in. Look, where do we start? Let's start with the newcomers. I think it was good for Hugo Broos to bring in Apolis, to bring in Abo Reinas, to actually give them a run. I think they gave us a different dimension in the game. We had a very, very, very interesting high press. That high press from South Africa won us a lot of balls up front and actually caused both goals, if I'm not mistaken. And it's something that we couldn't necessarily do with Percy on the pitch, with Makgopa on the pitch. So it's very good to see that Bafana is kind of building that plan B, you know, where we have different players that can do different things on the pitch, and we don't necessarily have to always ask players who don't fit the mold of how we were playing to be part of it. I think the spaces that were opened up by the movement of Reinas, the movement of Apolis, the movement of those players actually created more space for Utemba Zwane to take advantage of it. And the only complaint I would have is that they were too far away from each other. Sometimes you need them to be a little bit close to get to really use that pace, that skill. Sometimes you need to play on transition a little bit quicker in order to catch the opposition sleeping. But what I will say, they looked great. The only downfall of the new people was Umayo got a second bite of the apple. And Umayo was somebody who we had all been crying for and asking for him to be in the team by virtue of him being one of the high scorers. But it doesn't seem like he's up to scratch with idiski Bruce. So I'm going to open up, guys. Like I said, Malume Kuto, welcome to the show. How are you, my brother?
Mr. Witzing Mlando Weja.
Man. Nakimnati man kishebile 3-3 engwe, a nailing exciting that had everything. What did you think of the game that Algeria played versus South Africa?
Before I go into it, even yesterday I thought to myself, hey, no, I don't know this guy. It's not Penrama who scored. It's Kimang Penzia. No, everyone said Penrama. It's not only you. I remember someone said, now Penrama, I told you about Penrama. Doesn't even Penrama. I would not do my star player. People just credit you for things you didn't do.
Yeah, man, everything, man.
Yeah, no, great game from Atseke Bafana.
Brahimi.
No, Brahimi got the second one. That guy's got two goals.
Penzia, so.
Yes, it's Penzia, Mr. Witty. Great game from the two teams, but we have to be honest, poor defense, as well as the Kanake. To concede two identical goals, man, it's a problem. So for Algeria to concede those two identical goals, and I say identical because it's from a high press Bafana. And also yesterday we saw some things, man. For example, for me now, what I noticed is Thabang Munare was seemingly not giving us anything, but as soon as he got off the pitch, Mr. Uti, even worse, I understand. And then on further reflection, I noticed Uti, he actually won the ball, Thabang Munare, and played that pass for his second goal, Katemba's one. So some things are really bony, we overlook them. And truth be told, man, I think maybe, and I'm sure everyone is starting to notice that maybe, just maybe, we don't understand international football and what it requires at the present moment. You understand? Maybe there was a time when our players could adapt to international football, but now I think it takes something special to play, and for a South African, it takes a big heart. I'm happy that Mokwena. That's what you do when you're given a chance. I'm happy Reinas. That's what you do when you're given a chance. You take it with both hands and you run with it. Moving to the Nigeria game, Reinas has put his hand up to say, Coach, I can do the hold-up play, even though I don't look like I can physically. But once we are put into a field, I can do it and I can press, I can run the way he requires strikers. I'm actually watching him right now. He's forcing these defenders to play long balls. He's forcing them to make passes. You understand that, Mr. Osi? So I think he's also some form of an unsung hero from yesterday. He made those defenders panic. He made them think. He never gave them a chance. And I'll give it to Tabang Munare as well. On further reflection, I'm seeing Uti. He actually did well, Mr. Uti.
Okay. I'm gonna come back. Let me bring you Prastomi. Prastomi, welcome to the show. How are you? I'm Nandi Prastomi. Prastomi, tell me, what are your thoughts about this game we played?
Yo, since izolo we're complimenting you boys in that game esiyifumene. I think it was one of the best games I can azibukela ngoku. Apho iSouth Africa ifumana a game time compete nabantu. Ibe game of goals. Yeah, but ke ngoku kwi-game yonke you notice into yoba we had a problem ye defending.
Yeah.
Even though mna ndinazo into I can highlight that are positive in the team. I'm glad that players, some few players, as for me game time, they raise their hands. Zabonisa Hugo that they are ready to be in the team. And again, it's a good positive side. Abantu who are raising hands, abantu who are willing to play for this team. And again, yeah, bendibona possible besinoyiwa kula game and possible besinoyiwin. But ke ngoku into benayo is that benirhalela enye players because ziyifumane a chance to play with a proper Bafana because if you notice kwi-game besidlala no-Andorra, ezo players zonke they were not familiar to playing with each other, and that is why they were struggling to team isn't in the competitive edlala igame ebonakalayo. So we needed some into enjalo because into endiyinotice like after uThemba Zwane went out, yeah, game it wasn't that normal. And kulapho ke ngoku I experienced so much problems. And ke ngoku ndivenda uyishayela ukuba if uZwane bephumile we should safaka uMaswangayi. Into simfaka simbonisa into yothi ba fethu in this game kuzobonakala indawo uThemba Zwane xa iphumile. Now into esiyifunayo thina sifuna uyovalesa space ucreate ngale ndlela bedlala ngayo uZwane and free and play your game so that i-team izokwazi ujela nawe. Because at some point uyabona mos Hugo introduce abomayo and laa nto yomayo it wasn't working because in the runs bezisenziwa nguMokwena, ubumbona uMokwena ubaleka nebhola but ingaba-rich bona. So zenye ze-problems that I had. Otherwise creativity side mna I'm okay. And ke ngoku kuyacaca kwi-backline yethu, that backline without Umvala we're still gonna have problems. And Hugo has to ayilungise kwangoku. And coming back to ke ngoku side le-Algeria, i-Algeria benifunda enye into ye-coach yabo namhlanje. The coach is very new to the team. So ucoach into ezileyo uzibizile players wathi zanika i-chance nonke. And zawustart as if le team njengoba ndim new, the team is new nayo. So ngizawunika i-chance wonke umuntu to assure ayifumane i-chance wonke umuntu. And it was that game, even though it was a competitive game because ebeyibonile game it wasn't easy because siyayazi Algeria is rating number 7. Then ke ngoku you are rating number 7 but you are playing the current bronze medal AFCON. So it was a competitive game, interesting. And I want to add on something ibithatha ngokhuso apha. Nam ndiyinotisile le nto kaMunara because I thought uMagaman uzofika ayistabilize laa ngxaki besinayo, but ndive ndabona a lot of problems. And ke ngoku with those problems besinazo uzukhumbule ku-wingback zethu besine-problem. Then ngoku ufika uMegaman ngosicima uzostabilize laa ndaba ibidlala nguMonara, he became worse kunoMonara ngalaa ndlela besiyibukele ngayo. So that is my take on this game.
I'm gonna come back because there's some points you've mentioned there that I think are key.
And OT yazi ndilibele ubulisa yini i-panelist zam Khutso, Agent Vuyo, no Bo, nanoba nguBho kanye banguSipho.
Yeah, okay. Mara. All protocol must be observed, Prastomi. Let me go to Agent. Agent, welcome to the show, my brother. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm Naki Sharp. Naki Sharp, tell me, what are your thoughts about this 3-3 draw, Algeria and Bafana Bafana?
I think sometimes I don't know if we sit back and reflect that player for player, our players are playing in PSL. I think except Metlali there, I think in the starting lineup, all of them play in the PSL, you know? And we are sometimes hypercritical, I think, you know, of the PSL standard, and rightly so, you know. But sometimes I look at it and I'm like, this Algerian team, none of those that started in the starting 11 play in Africa, you know. So I think sometimes you have to applaud our own product and say PSL is actually good, you know. It's not perfect, but it is relatively good, you know. And to the man of the moment, he's aging in reverse, you know. I don't know, he's aging in reverse. It's very difficult that Sundowns for 2 or 3 years they've been trying to replace him, you know. I think we see why they're still struggling to replace him, you know, because players like this come once in a while, you know. They don't just come, you know. So I think we have to give him all the plaudits, you know. And one of the things that I admire about him is he's in the squad, arguably the oldest, arguably the most decorated, arguably the most everything, you know. And yet Williams is somehow his captain, you know, and still he respects that leadership, you know. And he reminds me of Iniesta and Xavi, you know. The other one is a captain the other side, the other one is a captain the other side, you know. So I think we sometimes have to also applaud his humility, you know, because not every football player has that kind of humility. And then to the game, I was watching it, Reynas. I think he didn't disappoint me. I said before the game that I'll be watching if we'll be playing person football. I think we played relatively well. I think, like I said, Hugo Broos maybe wants us to play person football, you know, but I think he doesn't have this kind of opportunities to try things out, you know, and he tried it in AFCON, it didn't work. It's like, hey guys, let me try to something which I know works, you know. And so mentions a good point that maybe we don't appreciate or know continental football, you know. Sundowns for the past 4 or 5 years have been the best ball playing team in the continent, but what do they have to show for it? You know, nothing. So then it brings in the question, what are you doing wrong? And I think Rulani has found that continental football is not always about how it looks on the field of play. It's about getting results, you know. And I think Hugo Broos has gotten results, you know. And I think you said before the AFCON, if I recall well, you said the best way sometimes to build is win something, get credit in the bank, and then you can start trying new stuff, you know. So I think that's what Hugo Broos has done. He has gotten some credit in the bank, and now he's free to try all those kind of things. Hence, he could afford to experiment with a whole new lineup against an Andorra, you know, and still knows that even if I lose or draw, the backlash that I'm gonna face is from fans. He still has that kind of, you know, credit in the bank, you know. So I'm happy, like, you know, the squad. I'm happy with the police. I'm happy with you know, these. That's my last point. I know you're not gonna like it, but I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you look at Chiefs and you're like, hi, man, Mark is always playing, but he's costing us. And you take him out, you're like, hey, Chiefs looks worse. We actually mismarked, you know. So I think it was the case of Umonare. During the game, we're like, aye, man, this one is not make sure. The moment you took him out, it fell apart, you know. But I think the most important thing is for the coach to maybe coach him into that role that when we have fullbacks who are overlapping, aka Mudiba, you cover for him, you know. You don't stay central, you know. You don't say maybe Kekan will go there or a police will come back. No, a police stays high, Mudiba stays high. You are the one who is supposed to come there and tag in there, you know. So I think maybe something that can be coached. I don't think it's something that is difficult, something that can be coached into a player. So yeah.
Okay. Uvuyo's gone. Malama Kutsu, I wanna let's stick to the game. I want to speak about the debutants. How did you feel about the debutants or supposed debutants? Some of them have been in the league, in the team. How did you feel about their performances? And are you confident that at least now going forward, we know that we have guys that have played some games, we've seen them, they seem to be hungry, they seem to be up to it. How did you feel about the debutants in this game? Or maybe not just the debutants, the people who are on the outside, on the fringes?
Yeah, exactly. Our French players. No, some of them made a good contribution, you know, Mr. Woods. Actually, the actual French players, according to coach, I think they all did well. You understand? And what we don't realize is how much of the actual team was absent yesterday. The entire front three, being Mahopa, Pacey, and Umurena, did not start. I understand that's the go-to front three in big games. Or well, that has been the go-to front three. So everyone up front was relatively new. You understand? And French player, if we're talking Omihlali. And then in midfield trio it would be Tembazwane, Mokwena, they were there, and Uyaya. Yaya wasn't there. So already there's 4 players, 4-player change. And when we come to right back, the first choice right back has been Umutao. He also wasn't there. That's 5. And then when it comes to centre back, Umvala wasn't there. That's a 6th absentee. But I think Ukulu, we can't really call him a French player. He's been in there. However, we can say 6 players short, and we managed to hold our own. So it does say that the French players were well identified. There will come a time where they need to step up, and I think they did step up. We could have done better defensively, let's be honest. Even in attack, we could have done better. But it's worth mentioning that we were away, Mr. Uti. We were away in a fully packed stadium. But
versus a team that has not lost 11 friendlies.
I understand. But at the same time, it does help Uti. The core. I think it might have only been 4 players of Sundowns, but they still from the core. The core of the team, Vele, is not used to dominating people in the stands. You understand? So it's nothing foreign to them. Uti, the entire stadium is packed with opponents and supporters to South Africa D57. It's what they go through day in, day out, you understand? So, but we have to commend Mr. Utiabo Mokwena. I still say the fact that he came in and did what he does. I'm actually still watching him again. He did what he does. You know, when we talk about Ito Maswangai, how he plays the derby, the Soweto derby, he plays it the way he plays football. He doesn't change. You don't see him Shapadi rough tackle out of the blue. He does what he does. And that's why people are starting to warm up to him to a point where they like, he's a possible next number 10 for Bafana. What I saw on Mokwena is exactly that, doing what you do in a different stage. Even against Andorra, he says, I'm a player who takes on defenders, and I'm going to take on defenders and take shots. You understand? And there's a coach, development coach, who was lashing out at the players, Robert Shem Kelly's. He says, you miss 100% of the chances that you don't take, or 100% of the shots that you don't make. And Mokwena knows this very well, which is why he gets in and he takes shots. There's only one way to win the lottery. It's to play. If you don't play the lottery, you won't win. So we need that type of mentality. And again, I will say, with the right people around, Mr. Uti. I remember when Uchali was also knocking on that door, and the coach said, "Okay, I'm gonna compromise on Tembazwane, but on this guy, I'm not gonna compromise." And it's the very same reason why Usipho Mbule does not touch the national team jersey anymore. It's according to the coach, is the fact that they drop their heads when they are on the bench. They sulk when they are on the bench, and we know the story. For Sundowns, it's actually true. Well, it looks like it's true. Let me not say it looks like it's true. So when you call up about Bafana and about Tembazwane, who can sit on that Sundowns bench with a smile, it then feeds Kwamanyama playing, feeds onto other players to say, if this big guy, which we all admire, can sit on the bench, and if this big guy, which we all admire, can miss so many call-ups and feel that maybe we could have qualified him, but he still comes and gives one hell of a shift. Now he still comes and gives one hell of a shift day in, day out. You know, I had said the Masabe, man, I stand by that because I saw when that second half started with, the legs were a bit heavy. And I understand because of the hard work that he puts in. This is why we'll see our police springed from an offensive position to a defensive position when we lose the ball, because they can see that their hero, the biggest player of their generation, does the same. Abo Reynas, they know which, okay, I'm Reynas, I'm big for Stellenbosch, but a guy who's actually big for PSL runs his socks off. I might as well join. Yeah, you understand. I might as well join the team and do exactly that. No matter, man, like I said in the group, which in as much as he didn't perform very well, one thing that impressed me was his willingness to do. Yeah, I understand. He's not hiding from the ball. He loses the ball, he still requests. So I love the mentality more than anything. Yeah, my French players.
Prastomi, let's talk about some of the French players and debutants. How did you feel about their performances? And can you speak to maybe some of the hunger? As Malume Kutsu has been speaking about, Apolis was running up and down. Makbeluk defending where he was there. Abu Mokwena taking the bull by the horns. Abu Reynolds played a little bit better there. Can you speak to that too? So what did you think of these French players and debutants, and what do you think about their attitudes?
Uyazi uba uthi i-problem esibenayo is that when you talk about i-fringe players uyofumaniseka uba ziba khona eziyinikwayo a first game kuthiwa nazi i-debate game yakho kazibonakalise what you can do, and uyofumaniseka uba ezinye they are taking that chance with high confidence and fighting for the place because they want to represent i-country yabo. And nabo babona uba they are good players in football. So mna what I like is that uMokwena kwigame yakhe ye-Andorra, he said uba mna I want to stay here and continue playing with Bafana. Whether noba kwenzeka ntoni, I joined any team, I'm joining any team, okanye I'm still with the same team ndikade ndiyidlalela, but funeka nazi into eyi-one is that I am here and I am willing to serve a country and play a role yam mandiyinikiwe. Same as Apolisi. Apolisi usibonakalisile loo nto is that uba naye is willing to play, even though bendiyikhalela because we-AFCON akhange afumane game time. I can't mention into umntu angene for 5 minutes ndithi udlalile, but in that game le besiyibukele izolo, uApolisi usibonakalisile uba is very much interested to be in the team and uza continue and working hard. Now ke ngoku into esizawuba nayo is that kwabantu besinabo, how much more do we need and how much more players are we willing to take to be in the team? Now ngoku uHugo funeka identify loo nto that okay zikhona ezi zizibonakalisile that are interested to play, then bakhona aba ndiqonda uba i-game time abakayayifumani very enough, so they still need time to be in the team. But ke ngoku going forward, at least ngoku sinayo a reference point that nansi team then sizalungisa apha nalapha. Otherwise mna I am happy kuMokwana noNatsika no Apolis. And lastly kule ndaba kaTito, if uyakhumbula uHugo he mentioned into yoba uNatsika umdantsane can play that role le kaNatsika kaThemba Zwane. Then waqala wahle wayibhenshi umdantsane kwiteam yakhe. Wasicela uMasangayi in the future can play that position. Nam ndisamile, those two players are willing to play that position. Those players are willing to play that position because at some time into eyawusinceda uMasangayi afumane a competition engumdantsane so that impushe more nomdantsane aqhubekeke kukhona into encourageayo ukuze azadlale ngalaa ndlela. Otherwise mna I still don't see any problems regardless ke uba sine-problem kwi-backline, but ke ngofuneka in the back of our minds sikhumbule uba noko sinazo ii-players but ke ngoku they were not in the team because bekwi-team zabo bebene-injury. So nantsi into esime ngayo ngo going forward. Otherwise mna I am happy with a few ezinto ezimesileyo. No-Reyners naye ndibe nayo indawo endiyithandileyo ngayo because at some point ufumaniseka uba when the games besidlala ufumaniseka uTawa simboni abe khona egamini. So uReyners uyasibonakalisa given a chance kuthiwa uTawa akabonakali sifake yena egamini, ikhona into azayenza to link up the play with the players.
Okay, guys. Please tap the screen. I think we're only on 683 likes, guys. Can we get to 15,000? It's free. Just tap the screen. Tap the screen. It helps with the ranking and all of those things. Agent, how did you feel about the debutants and the French players and how they performed? For me, it seemed as though they had a lot more. It's almost like there was a pride in playing.
For most of them, I would say the spirit was willing, but the body was weak, eh? The spirit was willing, eh? But I come execution is something else, eh? But as long as you are showing that you are willing to do something, I guess we applaud. You know, Apolis reminded me of not in terms of play, but in terms of the engine of Kante. You know, he played like his three lungs. You know, I'm not sure if he was able to sleep or if he was able to wake up in the morning. Because I think he ran his lungs out. You know, but other players, Reyners, you know, last week the conversation that we're having was, should we create a system for players or players should adapt to the system, you know? And I've always emphasized that players need to somehow fit into the system. You know, can't create a system for a specific kind of player, you know? And Reyners showed that, you know, that, hey, guys, looks like I'm not going to be getting balls behind the defense and running in it, so let me try and adapt. And he adapted well, you know, and I think it will come good, you know? So I'm impressed by that because I think he showed someone that, hey, my guy, the team is not going to wait for you. You know, you have to catch up to the team, you know. And speaking about the devil, sometimes when you have a coach who is as harsh as Bruce is, I don't know if it's harsh or decisive, whatever it takes, you have to be very careful, you know, with the way you react. Remember after what was that game where he said certain players wouldn't come back? And some of those guys have never seen them back, you know? So when he said something bad about you after the Rwanda game, then gives you a second chance, I think he's like, I see potential in you, but, you know, I can't push you. You know, it's like Sancho's situation. There is potential there. He's a good player, but do you have the heart? Do you have the desire to play at the highest level, you know? And I think he's lacking that, you know? And maybe it's a case of comfortability, you know? I don't know if he's comfortable at Cape Town City, where now he's the star of the show, you know? But even, I think after this kind of performances, teams like Sundowns or Pirates, when they come in, it's like, hey, Mark, we saw this guy struggles in CAF, you know? So the value has to go down from that crazy 30 million. You know, so I think he's not doing himself any favors. You know, if the signing on fee was going to be 2 million, it has to go down to 1.5 now. You know, so sometimes you have to look at this kind of things as a player and say, but I have to give my all. You know. I think that was that. I think who else was that team? Reina Police did well. Mokwena. I think if taking an opportunity by both hands was a person, that is that guy, you know. So I'm happy for him. So yeah, I think for most of them, yeah, the spirit was there.
Okay. Stingy with the partner, welcome to the show, my brother. How are you?
Bra George, man, I'm alright, man. Yeah, sip my cocktails, bugala la draw. Hey, life is good.
I'm gonna throw you into the deep end. What did you think of the fringe players and the new players that got chances in this game versus Algeria? How did you think they performed?
Listen, man, I'm still worried a bit. I'm worried that we did not use. Okay, let me start with. I'm happy that we played Algeria with mobile loose three. I'm happy. It shows that when box to box players, when the game is not fitting them, we do have players that can come in and stretch the spaces and stretch the defense.
Yeah.
It's nice to have a 9 that can fetch the ball outside the box, is able to cross, is able to play, be it a 7 that is going to move into a 9 or 11 that is going to move into a 9. I'm happy with that because that's one thing that Lepasa and Evidence are lacking in, and we saw that in CAF when they went to play in AFCON. That when Evidence Makgopa has got the ball by the corner flag, he does not have the skill and the capacity to find Dawi inside the box. Yeah. So when you've got Reynas and Apollos and who was the third guy that was playing on the right-hand side, when they interchange and Apollos goes wide, then they go in, he's able to find them in the box, and I'm happy with that. But then as much as I hear what Agent is saying, I'm worried that you are going to have a player and then we are not benefiting in terms of the quality that he brings to the team because we are not playing to his strength. I'm worried about that because the reason why he is Reynas, it is because he possesses different qualities, and now to bend him to fit into a particular style of play is that we get to see that in the game where we've got a striker that hardly has a save, misses a chance, or is in a scoring opportunity or a scoring space because we're not exploiting and reaping from what he possesses as a striker. And I'm worried about that. I really am. I don't want us to go to another tournament and we play 6 games, and in those 6 games, all our striking force, none of them have more than 4 goals in that particular tournament. I'm worried that you are going to go to a tournament with strikers and then you come back, all of your strikers, none of them has got more than 5 goals, more than 6 goals. And then we qualify by 4 points to the next round and then we clap hands. I don't want that. I want a Bafana that is going to be dominant. Last thing that I'm happy with. I'm happy that our midfielding and our attacking midfield are scoring goals. Tembazwane is scoring goals. Your cousin there is also scoring goals, and I'm happy with that. And I wish we could complement that with our wingers scoring goals, our strikers scoring goals, and that for me and our defenders capitalizing on set pieces. Then that means that we've got a solid team that is moving forward. When last did we see a Mvala goal or a Kulu goal or a CBC goal? They need to get also on the scoring sheet and do well with our set pieces and our corners, because sometimes that's the only chance we are going to get, we are going to have in a particular tournament. We don't want to go to the next 16 with penalties, quarterfinals penalties, and semi. Imagine quarterfinals, semi-finals, all penalties. Aye, man, aye. We are the penalty. I think we are the only team in the history of FIFA to ever do that. I mean, like we are Caleb. Aren't we Caleb penalty specialist?
It was coming along so well, and you just had to take the shot. Mara. CJ, it's fine. I'm gonna come back. Let me bring it to Kuma. Kuma, welcome to the show, my brother. How are you?
Hi, great. How you guys doing?
Now we're good. Kuma, I'm gonna throw into the deep end. What did you think about the debutants and the French players' performances versus Algeria?
No, I just want to say something that Sin just said. We don't have strikers. We had more than 4 goals. That's quite ambitious. More than 2 goals, my bra. Fucking G. I thought we could have done without any Paris players. Well, Tlhalohang, Reina is better than Lepasa. We achieved more than Lepasa. At least Reina has got to hit the crossbar. Now I want. Yeah, police crossbar.
We don't even know who hit the crossbar.
Jonas
Guys, behave, man.
But honestly, man, we can't really judge these players based on one game. A lot of these guys have been traveling Bafana, and some of them had little to none game time. Yes, the game was exciting last night. You saw glimpses of what could be in terms of like future prospects. Obviously, people like Mayo Mobi Musele didn't have the greatest of game, but my bra. Yeah, Mokwena. Wow, where did Mokwena come from? All of a sudden, he's the talk of the town. He's doing some great stuff, man. He's doing some great stuff. I can't fault game, friendly. I mean, like there were some times where even the great Mbazwane had a game to forget, and sometimes he performs. Maybe if we stick to them and have faith, like Hugo Broos has faith in Mobi and Kulu, they may do wonders for us. Yeah, Mara just feel like I don't tell the Paris players then the sharp with them.
Hey, you guys and the parting shots, guys, please tap the screen. Let's try to get to 15,000. 15,000, guys. Can you guys try to get 15,000 likes? Just tap the screen. Malame Kutu, I'm going to ask you 2 questions, right? I've heard everybody speaking about how this performance wasn't perfect. We had our defensive lapses up front. We're not necessarily scoring. Tembazwane had to take the game by the scruff of the neck. Are you confident with this performance moving forward with these players? And does it say anything about us as fans, as South African fans, that we are so excited for a 3-3 draw? When we win 1-0, people say that we're trash and we do all of these things. What does it say about us as fans? I want to balance the two.
People say a lot of interesting things, eh? Mokwena just blossom all of a sudden. Hey, that is very, when he has been doing things for the longest time. And another interesting thing, AFCON. No, how did we qualify? That's a real question. How did we qualify for AFCON? We beat Morocco.
We're beating teams. Yeah, we won games.
Beat Morocco, and guess who was on the score sheet? Zakile Lepas. How did we? And then who else? Rwanda or Kimang? The Liberia. In Liberia, who was on the score sheet? Zakile Lepas. But the disrespect for strikers who have never scored for the national team. Hey, it's alarming, man. And we better beat Morocco again at the AFCON. Who was on the score sheet? Zakile Lepas. Not this. Makhupa.
Yeah.
Makhupa. And he was running his socks off. And when we beat Namibia, who was playing the 1-2 as a wall for Tembazwane? Makhupa. I'm a South African. I appreciate Marias. Aye, man.
That's why Malume Kutsa that yes, it was very exciting. But there was a lot of things wrong. Bafana Bafana has played some better games and won in better conditions. Let's say Boma 1 Bao that we're speaking about. What does it say about South Africans that we are so happy, got 3-3, but then we get so dejected, got 1-0 win under quote unquote Bruce tactics?
Yeah, Mr. Oti, like, no more nyama, Mr. Oti. You'll understand. You'll understand what happens there. And it meshes very well with Bafana Bafana. The guy, what GTI, Ekuruza Gamnandi, Okrogi Stariana, 18 Moyeng, Bekele Beke, Stariana Swella Pil, where Luhu Klabafitu. That's the guy we all praise, you know what I mean? Why yet and try it. But the guy who takes care of his family, sacrifices in front of us, which his family must live a life of luxury, just comes there and drinks his castle. We look down on him. The guy who just gets the job done every day. We look down on him. So it's not only a football thing, Mr. Oti. Even when it comes to politics, it's the guy who speaks nice. It's the guy who can get the crowd going just from speaking. Nothing to do with service delivery. It's a mentality across the board. It's not only limited to football. As phone into grain, you understand? Hugo Broos, when he qualified, Sangalazi is qualified for the longest time. We still had issues. I mean, someone supports Chiefs and has the nerve to criticize a draw. I mean, a progress, a draw. The whole team that you support cannot even fix a camera for 10 years. Can you draw? You come here, you tell us what the draw is. You must ask us. Rona, we've lifted trophies, can you draw? We understand to win a game. There are many ways of winning a game. And by the way, Portugal won the Euros without actually winning. In 90 minutes. So so and by making it I'm sure Mr. Oti, I know you'll say I'm talking about these other ones. Lines of some distract. We are here, we are building Mr. Oti. You understand? And I'm still confident with Pesita who has a place in this team. I'm still confident with Tapelo Morena has a place in this team. I'm still confident with Yaya Stolle has a place in this team. What I would love to see, Mr. Oti, is some less adventurous fullbacks.
Okay.
If we can identify some, because let's be honest, I can hear people are saying Mvala this, Mvala that. But you know Mvala, Mr. Oti. It's a penalty, own goal. We know Mvala. He's just that guy. We can't say, actually Mvala should be playing right back so that mistakes are able to corner kick or able to place kick. He'd be great there, plus he has the speed and everything. I understand that, Mr. Oti. If we can get stable fullbacks who are about defending, then I think corner last corner and maybe Umdiba should start competing where he should be competing. You understand? If you can find a left-footed centre back somewhere, Mr. Oti, in the country who can actually do the job, like a fullback, Sbege and Mr. Oti, coach him. You see the centre backs, they are always stretched. Even against Nigeria, Ukekana had to sharp last dish tackle. They are always stretched because our fullbacks don't care about defending. Why? See, sometimes Bola is so fit, Bola Sampanal goalkeeper, they're already running. Sampan go 6, they're already ahead of the strikers even. So we must find fullbacks who want to play as fullbacks. Not our players that we love must start competing with other attackers because it's clear, Mr. And Umutawi, what I love about him is that he is able to be conservative. And of late, he's been conservative. Ateki as much. So maybe that was right. But Lapaga left Mr. Oti. I'm worried. I'm worried.
Guys, can we try get to 15,000? Guys, tap the screen. Guys, protocol must be observed. I hope you guys don't mind. Tatem Tetwa is on the call. I'm going to jump to him right now. Tatem Tetwa, welcome to the show. How are you? Hey, you can just unmute the Tatum Teto. Let me just click the button and see if I can help.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly. Like I didn't touch.
I'm good. How are you, Tati?
But great, Tatum Teto. Tatum Teto, I want to jump you into this conversation. You said something in the comments where you said you were on commentary and you saw some things good and some things bad. But I want to focus on something where game if it's 3-3. And it was a messy game, if we're being honest, defensively from both sides at times during the game. What does it say about us as South Africans? That was messy, but it was 3-3. But Bafana high pora, quote unquote, and they win their 1-0. What does that say about South Africa?
I think mainly we should talk about what went wrong and what went right, and why would we be happy and why wouldn't we be not be happy. And I think if we can look at the inconsistencies game Maubani, particularly in the middle and defense, that's where the problem started. And I think the turnovers, Taruna, we never converted our turnovers. We had almost 8 turnovers in one game, and we only managed to score with 1. And that's the first thing. Secondly, your normal football that we play was exceptional. That's what made South Africans happy, despite the result of 3-3. But one, the fighting spirit, the passion, the determination to represent the flag and to say to themselves that we are not going to lose in Algeria for the first time. And that meant that the players that were playing yesterday were more determined to save the flag than anything else. But the inconsistencies at the back, the goalkeeper and his back four, were very inconsistent yesterday. Somebody mentioned that our fullbacks, when they go up, they don't come back. That is true. It has always been happening. Even during AFCON, it was the same problem. Yesterday, Modiba had a blind of a game, but the problem was just coming back to fulfill that space. And that created a void between the two center-backs, because it means one center-back had to cover where Modiba is supposed to be. Yes. And the same thing applied with Mobia on the right. It means the number 5 had to cover there, which is Kulu in this case. He had to cover there, and Kekana had to cover the other side, Modiba. So it always left a space for Algeria to be able to come through and be able to attack us with ease. If you look at all the goals that they scored, besides the acrobatic goal, they all came from the middle. All came from the middle. Why? Because of that space that I'm talking about. And then if you go back again, I want to mention something very quickly. Victor Osimhen said on Canal Plus that the most difficult team that he played against during the AFCON was South Africa, because of their tenacity, 1, 2, because of their aggression, 3, because of their belief in what they can do with the football. And he also mentioned that South Africa came to the tournament without any big stars playing in Europe. Only Sitole was playing in Europe. And at that time, no one thought South Africa would play this good and reach the semi-finals. I don't care if they won with penalties from last 16 to last 8. I don't care. That's football. That's why we have penalties in football. Brazil won the World Cup with penalties in 1994. Somewhere along the way, they won penalties. Germany won the World Cup in 1990 via a penalty. So it's not like it's a miracle. In 1986, the same thing happened. Brazil lost in the semi-finals when Socrates missed a penalty at Azteca Stadium. So that shows you that football is part of penalties are part of football. And we cannot divorce ourselves from all the possibilities and probabilities that happen in a football match. Now, coming back to yesterday's game, I feel that Bafana know what they should do. The only thing is how to do it. They know what they should do, but how to do it is still a problem. 1, let's start with attack. We don't have a special attacker that we have.
Yeah.
When we had Makgopa was a very strategic player for Bafana Bafana because all players were feeding off him because of his size and because of his strength and how he read the game, which was good during AFCON. But yesterday it became very clear that we don't have somebody like Makgopa. So Mshishi had to carry Bafana with his experience, his skill, and also his Chebelopili, his vision of the game. And he realized that there could loopholes somewhere in that back line, Algeria, between Mandani and Azin. He knew that there could be a space there, and he used the space twice coming from the right, because the first ball, it was a pass from him that went to Mayambela and back to him. The second one was the same routine, to the right, went to Mushishi to the right, came in, cut back to his left, shot with his left, and went over the goalkeeper into the net. That's a sign of a player who's got vision, who can realize quickly what is happening around him and what's happening with his teammates. But the middle field yesterday, Thaba Munare nearly gave the game away completely yesterday. Thaba Munare was out of sorts. The same applies to Musile. He was out of sorts when he came in. But Apollis could have been the star with that stunner that he hit the crossbar with. But the problem is one, he needs to work on his passing. He must work on his passing. His passing it's dismal. He can play the ball, win the ball, but to play the second ball, that's his problem. He gave away, I think, 4 or 5 passes that could have given to a player wearing the same shorts and socks, but he gave it away to somebody wearing white socks and white shorts. So for me, those are small things that they need to look after. But still on that, Mokwena, all the time, he'll give you his 110%. And even yesterday, the same thing happened. He was grinding. He was everywhere. He took control of the game. You could swear that he was the captain of the team. Yes, he was the captain on field, but the goalkeeper instead disappointed us with his antics. This playing the ball from the back, I agree with somebody earlier who said we need to have a solid back four who can play the ball up. Sometimes you don't need always to play the ball from the back, because with us, what happened at AFCON, what happened against Andorra, what happened yesterday, it's the playing back thing. All the time want to do the same thing. Teams end up reading how you play. They know how you play. And remember, Algeria is a very quick team. They knew we're going to do that. That's why they nearly embarrassed us yesterday. And then there's the middle field. We still need our normal midfield of Sithole and Mokwena. And so that they can release Tshwane to play as a free man, to attack all the time and create spaces for others, so that all the turnovers can be used to effectivity for us to create and convert goals. We don't have a natural born striker currently. Lepasa is off form. Makgopa, he was not there yesterday. But going forward, remember on the 6th of June, we play Nigeria in the World Cup qualifiers. It's going to be difficult away in Nigeria. So the question is, how are we going to manage that one if we don't have natural goal scorers? So between now and June, we need to find someone who will be on form and score goals. This young man who came in and scored the 3rd goal yesterday from Sikukun, he's a marvel to watch. Mokwena, he's a marvel. He's talented. Let's use his speed. Let's use his talent and see if maybe that can bear fruit for us later in the qualifiers for the World Cup 2026. By the way, I still believe we are going to America, Canada, and Mexico come 2 years time.
So then, Tatum Chacho, before I bring in the other guys, is that not then a point where we speak to Bruce? Because a lot of the questions that were asked yesterday and some of the things that we've seen are weaknesses, for example, are things that we've seen before. Like we've seen the issue Mudiba on the left-hand side, and how that left-hand side becomes weak, where attacking we look great, but then in defense we become a bit weak. Those are some of the questions we've asked in the AFCON. When we look up front, in as much as Makgopa was so great and strategic, I don't think we have thought of a way of how to score. We don't have a plan of how to score. And I think Tshwane might have papered over some of those cracks. Is there any point where we speak to Bruce about this and say, hey, Mara, re tlo e kwala neng taba ena, ditaba tsena?"
Look, Bruce, that's his job to find a striker in the country. That's not a fan's job. It's Bruce's job to find a good striker. But the question is, you look at the moment, who do we have? Mayo looked lost yesterday. Even in the previous game, he looked very lost. Okay, and he's scoring goals in the premiership. But when it comes to Bafana, he's not converting them. Like I said, Lepasa is off form at the moment. Then you still have other players like Saleh maybe could come in. Kaizer Chiefs still have what's his name?
Dupree.
The one from Stellenbosch. Dupree is still there. And then we also look at other teams as well. If maybe we can find somebody that can be, but can you convert somebody to become a national team player this late before the qualifiers? I'm not sure. So Bruce and his technical team, they need to sit down and say, who do we plan our game around in terms of striking? Are we always going to score from the middle? I don't think that's a good idea. You find a clever team that can lock all the doors from the middle, from supplying to the front. Then that means you can never ever have somebody who will score for you. So that's where the point of somebody who said we need to have people who can score from set pieces, like your defenders, your tall defenders, and what have you. Yesterday we were very lucky that Algeria could not score with the tall number 9, Baghdad Benajat. If that guy can be in a good position to hit the ball, he can score with his head. He has scored against us before in 2015 at AFCON. And he could have done it again yesterday, but fortunately, we had a measure of him yesterday. And they even substituted him to show that he was not the best player on the day. But Ibrahimi, the number 11, was on top of us from minute 1 until he was substituted. So we need to have somebody like that as well who can take the game by the scruff of the neck and say, we are taking on this game. But he must have people who must convert for him when he takes the game like that. Like Zwane did yesterday. But unfortunately, yesterday Zwane saw the loopholes and scored himself. But if Zwane is not on song on the day, who's going to score for us? Yeah. So to answer your question, Bruce must look for a striker in the PSL or outside the country, somewhere, somebody, but must not change the structure of the team, of how this team has been playing since the qualifiers of the World Cup, AFCON, playing the AFCON, and now in all these frenzies that we're going to play before we complete the qualifiers. We need to change. We should not change how we play. We play better football, good football, with poise, with finesse, with swagger and determination. And also, we have that thing that, yes, we can do this.
Okay, no. I'm going to come back. Please stay on. Guys, can we please get to 15,000? We just had the legend on speaking to us here. Prastomi, I want to come to you, Prastomi. Back to that original question that what does it say about South Africans that, we played a 3-3 draw versus Algeria, which was messy. We had our issues in defense. We had our issues up front. We had all of this stuff. Ended 3-3. We are all happy. We're all excited. But Bafana might game boring, as we say, and they win their 1-0 as Bachableli. What does that say about us as South Africans, and how much do we have to look to Bruce in order to plug some of these holes, man, that have been there consistently for a while?
As OT, at times, when you play a draw,
oh, sorry, Prastomi. Sorry, my TikTok is telling me that I've been inactive. Okay, no, we're good. You can carry on, Prastomi. Sorry.
Did you get OT when you played good? A team may come with a draw. At some stage, we compliment in the city. And it might sound we are overrating in Doba. We only celebrating the draws. But Indians are what we are celebrating in the because at some stage you must say by South Africa we AFCON. It needs we end up playing good draws, penalties. Now if sifumene game apho sikwazi uskora khona, lonely says us be grateful, this is fans. and ke ngoku awunode uyichane the real thing ifez ezifana because ifez namhlanje zifuna le ngomso zifuna le OT
Here, you can continue. I'm still here. Rastomi, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, I'm still here. Don't worry, I'm still here.
Oh, did get ebantwini ke it always sounds like we were celebrating draws. But ke Tina, it's not like we're celebrating it draws straight. We're celebrating indlela esidlala ngayo because it's been a while sibukela iBafana with the interest. Silinde igame ka-11 ebusuku siyolala ngo-1 sizobukela yona. Into esayigqibela kudala leyo. So at times fans they will criticize when there's a problem. And fans they will compliment the team when the team is playing good. Because in that game we're playing we're Algeria. It does not mean we're celebrating a draw, but also we are questioning indlela besidlala ngayo central compared to defense yethu ihlobo besine problem ngalo. So it does not necessarily say Tina we were celebrating a draw. Kwelinye icala sinazo into esizikwazi identify that are negative in the team and nezi sizifunayo zilungiseke in the team, and there's nothing wrong if ezikazenza loo nto because now at some stage ndandikhe ndibe nayo into yoba when you play a draw against Brazil, yo sawulala phandle apho kuthiwa yho abemmake unantsika umphahlela uname, but when you look at the game ufumanise uba uNeymar hit the crossbar 8 times uyabo. So ezo zinto zisoko zikhona zifans, and ifans asoze de zibe satisfied into eziyifunayo okokoko they will always cry for something else. Into eyenzeka in football general, and it's not about indeed South Africa, around the world. And ke ngoku with those things zezisenza sikwazi siyesikhula more in football because you learn each and every game. If igame yakho is different compared to enye game oyidlalile, it says there's something oyibonayo with the game, and when you identify a problem ithetha ukuthi still usakwazi uyibukela ibhola uzibone i-problem that's there. So as problems sometimes sithi ngosizifeza thina we cried for uThemba Zwana a lot of times, but Hugo Broos was straight out to say uThemba Zwana is old and he wants to build a young team. Everyone believed that about South Africa, and they were even saying into yoba yo uThemba Zwana was given a time azange walisebenzisa time. So Hugo Broos is right uyabo. So at some stage not we as fans we can be right and the coach can be wrong uyabo, because she has more problems that you have in the team. It does not necessarily say if funeka sibone ungcoach kodwa nathi sizifeze siyayibukela ibhola with the understanding uba bekufama kudlalwa kanjani. So uthi sense uba ndi-skeptical ngento yoba ndizigxeke ifans ndithi hayi ifans zinengxaki, but now I come with the understanding ifans at times zikhona indlela eziyibona ngayo igame ngenye imini ziyibone ngenye indlela, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, let me go to Agent. Agent, we've had this conversation about, especially with your team, Rulani is playing a more African game. It's a 1-0 controlled game. People are not necessarily celebrating it as much as they used to. What does it say about us South Africans that this game that we played was a 3-3? It was flowing, it was back and forth, there was defensive mistakes, forward mistakes. Hey, it had a lot happening. Whereas when we win and it's boring, it's controlled, we don't make as much noise. What does that say about us as South Africans? And is it a good or bad thing?
I think we have had this conversation in a slightly different manner where we said what is entertainment football and what isn't. Because let me get this out of the way for argument's sake, that I think you remember when Algeria was leading 1-0 and I said we'll win this game because
Yeah.
I could see that we are playing well. I could see the patterns, I could see the formations, I could see everything that, okay, the boys are clicking, the boys are in the mood, you know? But you look at it and say it was chaotic. It tactically it was a nightmare. Tactical discipline was way off, you know, like I said, and I'm not picking up, like I said, I'm picking on both of them, Umonar and Mokwena. You cannot have an overlapping Umudiba and not cover him because you end up exposing Okekana and Utulu, you know, because with the way we play, the fullback and the wing and the winger, they don't exchange necessarily, they don't interchange. They both push forward. So one of the holding midfielders has to slot into that position or slot into the center half position and the center half moves out wide, right? But that wasn't happening, right? And then you have an Oa Police who, in as much as we're treating him, he was everywhere, okay, fine, sure, he was everywhere. But then when you have an Oa Police and Ozwani as two threats who are kind of playing a free role, it's a problem within a team because there's always going to be two players who are at times in the same position, leaving another position exposed, you know? So, and you look at Omokwena, the reason Omokwena was so tired, like he was super tired, except intensity, was that he was covering both the space of Ozwani and covering the space of trying to cover the space of Umobi and Ukekan, like he was in all the places, and at the same time he's trying to push forward. That was a problem, you know. Williams, you know that Ukekan and Tulu are not one of our best playing center backs, but yet you still insist on inviting pressure and giving it to them. Why are you doing that as the captain? Why are you doing that as the leader? You know, you're exposing our fullbacks, you know, I mean our center backs. And then I would always be in favor for a Umudiba who invites, you know, because we have a Umobi who's not going to necessarily add up in terms of numerical advantage for going forward, or Omodao when he's playing doesn't go that forward also as much as Umudiba, you know. So we can't have a flat four. We need numbers in both the center midfield and attacking areas, you know. So hence I always prefer to have an Umudiba who tucks in and takes that numerical advantage in the midfield. But the question is, how do you react tactically, you know? Hence I'm saying, in as much as it was enjoyable, the eye test is it was enjoyable, but you look at it, I'm like, aye man, you know. Bam Tata mentioned the goals that I don't know if it was Bam Tata or Butikuz, one of them mentioned the goals that Algeria conceded, similar, and you look at them, but these guys are supposed to be tactically superior, you know. But then you can forgive them because the new coach, but still they were making kind of, I would say, schoolboy errors, you know, because we were getting them up front. You know, when a team is pushed is on your face, you go along, you know, don't have to play it short, you know, because we push them up, we won the ball and we scored. Once there's a mistake, okay, fine, given, like the Williams one. Is a given, but the second time, third time, you have to go low, you know. So it's an interesting thing that you look at it and say, but 3-3 doesn't reflect well on the defensive side of things, you know, and midfielders. But we enjoyed it because there were goals, you know. We watch football to watch goals. That's what is enjoyable. But you look at the tactics of it, I'm not sure if it was a good game, you know. But on the eye test, it was a good game, yeah.
Do you question Bruce at any point and say that I don't think the Mudiba thing is new? We know that playing him in a back four, we saw it at AFCON actually, where he was exposed a couple of times. We know that there's a problem between linking the defense and the midfield and the forwards. So when you get up front, there's a bit of an issue there about how exactly we're going to go score. Is there a point where we ask Bruce that when are we going to find solutions for these things? Or should we?
I think Bruce had found a solution, right? In as much as I didn't slightly agree with it, but he had found a solution. If you look at our games Was it past Mali? I'm failing to recall, we're being less exposed on that side, because he had specific instructions for Oyaya that slot in there, like I said, I didn't agree with the way he was doing it because it was kind of counter-effective to what he's supposed to do because he was asking Yaya to directly drop to that side, But I think he had found a solution. Like I said, you can't have two wing backs, full backs who are not attacking. We can't have that. One of them has to attack. We just have to find a solution. Hence I'm saying maybe he has to give a Omanare, but again, as players, professional players, you see that Umudiba, everyone knows Umudiba, a boy going to school knows Umudiba's problems, So as a player, professional player who I'm sure you analyzed Sundowns, you say, but Umudiba is pushed forward. What am I supposed to do as a responsible professional football player? Some of these things don't have to come from the coach. In as much as the coach maybe has to give specific instructions, but as a professional player, you need to know what to do tactically, tactical position, And lastly, where the last time we had a prolific striker was Chilampela. Sundowns, the dominant team is playing with Ashalulile, who can play for Bafana. Who else is there? So I think I don't know if it's a problem that Bruce has to solve, or it's something that SAFA, PSL, and the teams have to solve. Do we maybe have to increase a ban? I don't know how that works, but we have to find a solution because we can't have the last striker, prolific one, was Umpela, and before Umpela, who was prolific, maybe Mark, You see, we always have that jump of 5-10 years without a consistent 20 goal scoring, Baini before Mark, and then, so there's always that gap that you need to close, so how do we close it? I don't think the national team can close that, can close that gap. It's up to SAFA and PSL and the teams to solve the problem.
Let me go to Sinja. Sinja, sometimes it feels like we're fans of football over being fans of the national team, that when the national team is doing well, but they're not playing the type of football that we want to see, we're not necessarily behind them. And then they come in and they play 3-3. That's very exciting, but there's a lot of things that you could question. We get very happy. What do you think about this thing with South African fans?
Look, I think I'm one of those fans. I'm one of them. I think I get frustrated if I'm going to watch a compressed game that lacks movement, that it's just waiting and calculating, not exploring, not experimenting. For me, it just becomes boring. Yeah, we win 1-0, it's fine, but I'm not even interested in watching the highlights. I'm not even interested of watching the replay. In fact, I'm cooking while the game is playing because nothing is interesting happening, let alone go and watch it at the stadium. You put petrol, you put money in, you pay ticket, you go take a date to sit there and watch calculative football. See, that is a game that I would watch. That's a game that I would go to. Another person that I don't think we are giving credit, that I think he was highly influential in that game being 3-3, is Rowan Williams. In particular, in the dying stages of this game, he made one-on-one saves, and for a goalkeeper to do that, for me, I give props to him. As I take it as a goal. It's like a goal when a keeper makes that save. It's like a player that has scored goal. And how many of those saves did Rowan make? In particular, towards the end of that game, it could have been 4. It could have been 5-3. It could have been 4-3 to Algeria. He came out to the party, and I think he's a senior player. That's why he's a senior player at Bafana. I'm also thinking that if you got, I mean, there are players, man, that I think could play as a six. I don't have a problem if your wing backs go up, but you have to have a six that's first of all is comfortable with both feet and can mark with both feet, so that he can slot in on the right and he can slot in on the left. He can assist on the left and he can assist on the right. So you need a utility player, and I think we do have those in South Africa that are playing in the midfield, and I think Blom is doing quite well in the MLS. I mean, when he was injured, you could see that he, even Bradley Carnell said it himself when he was injured. These 2 games he didn't play. You could see that they are missing that number 6 that is able to slot in on the left and is able to slot in on the right. Yeah. And I think whatever is going on between him and his management and Bafana and Hugo Broos, I think it's time that they sit down and sort that out, because I believe that he's a player that is needed in this Bafana, in particular to sort out this issue.
But then aren't we recreating the wheel for no reason? I mean, we know how Modiba plays at club level. We know what Sundowns does to hide him. We know where he plays comfortably. We've seen these things before. Are we not, reinventing too much? Shouldn't these questions be things that we have answered by now?
Look, I think if you look at the Bafana midfield, if you look at them, which pivot can you say is comfortable with the ball on both feet? We don't have that type of a holding midfielder. We don't have that type of a defensive midfielder that you know that if the attacking, if both the wing backs of your opposition and the wing forward, if both left and right wing backs and your left wing forward are attacking, who's going to assist our left back or our right back in that case, from the number 6s that we have, and also on the right hand side, who's that number 6 that can run from both ends of the 2 sides of the field? I don't think we have that type of a 6 in that Bafana squad, and I think that is why we are being exposed when Aubrey goes up, is that we don't have a 6 that can quickly slot in as a 3 or slot in as a 4. Or slot in as a 5 or slot in as a 2.
Let me bring in Kumo. Kumo. Retabesi 3-3 mara ha iwina Bafana. I cried the bronze medal. Katsona the penalty there. Nobody was happy. Everybody was complaining. Hey, this Bafana team does this, does that. Now they've gone to a 3-3 that was technically very messy. Who are happy. Can you tell me, what does that say about us as South African fans?
You know our people, bruh. Tactics. They always reserve the critics for Sundowns, aka Bafana. Only Sundowns is supposed to play tactically correct, no mistakes, whatever. Then they're gonna come and praise their mediocre Soweto derby and say it's the best thing we've ever seen. You understand? All I'm saying is, if you forget all of that, like you need to forget one thing about football, and especially South Africans. We love flair, we love flavor, flavor. We want to be entertained. I mean, like that game had almost everything. We came from a group, we came from behind to lead and also draw, right? When last did Bafana score 3 goals in open play? When last did you see such quality goals, And we could have actually scored 5 or 6 as well, and also read the jail in terms of our mistakes, aka Ronwen. But also in the same breath, he saved us. Limvala, like he really had an open net, he could have scored. So now yesterday I was entertained. Yes, it wasn't, we didn't win, but the way the passion was there, the excitement. It was a long time since we actually had something like that. So I'm not gonna come here and be a hypocrite. Honestly, like if you wanna see a game that is tactically astute, everyone is nice, go watch the Euros. Come on, let Sweden and Germany and get bored. Everyone is gonna give you those long passes that you want. Nagamo, you wanna see some magic. You want to be entertained. That is why I get the beautiful game. I have no complaints. I'm happy for what I saw. And we're saying just stop bringing Bob Long. Buteng Buzungu if you want proper number sixes. He can play defense. Now Rivaldo could say we've got proper people, not your natural rejects.
Okay. Tatam Tetwa, I want to come to you and speak about going forward. Like you said, in June, we're going to be Nigeria. How do you feel about our chances versus Nigeria with the squad that we have? And they're not going to give us this type of game. Are we confident that we can take them on and beat them? And also, how do you feel about Hugo Broos and Tatam Tetwa?
Well, let me answer the last question first. Hugo Broos must stay. That's the first thing. Consistency and continuity is very important in football, as it is in life. If you are not consistent, you would have all those things that come chip in and make you not to be sure or whether you're going forward or you're going backwards. So Hugo Broos, like he confirmed, is not going anywhere. So let him stay there. Remember, we're not building anymore now. We are going forward towards bigger things. The first step was we managed to get a podium place at the AFCON. We didn't win AFCON. When we were least expected to be on a podium, we managed to get a podium place. That's the first thing. Very good. It doesn't matter how we got it. It doesn't matter how we got it, but we got it. Some of the big names in African football didn't even reach the last 16. Your 4-time champions Ghana, your 7-time champions Egypt, all of your Cameroon, they never even came close to seeing the day of the quarterfinals or last 16. But we managed to go through that with the less important players that Africa has, because our players are taking that. They all play at home and they're not prolific, as they call it. Our players played with heart more than anything else. And consistently so, the same team continues to do that. Hence the result yesterday. If you look at the team that started from Algeria yesterday, out of the 11 that started, only 2 play at home for Constantine AC. Only 2 of them. The rest play in Europe and also in the Gulf states, which is Saudi, Qatar, and United Arab Emirates. All those players, all of them, they play with big teams and big names abroad. But we brought our own again, 11 players based where? In the PSL, okay? And we went down against Algeria. I thought for a moment, as I was commentating, are the floodgates open now? But I still had that thing. I remember when I said, I believe, we still believe, we continue to believe. And guess what? We managed to equalize. So that means that this team has belief in themselves. One, they can fight back despite our deficiencies that we have in terms of, if you look at experience, we don't have the best experience in terms of caps recorded for the team. If we count the caps of the team that played against Bafana yesterday, we don't have a player, only maybe 2 or 1 player is over 50 caps. And then with Algeria, you had the goalkeeper who's over 30 already, is going towards 50. You had the captain, he's at 68. You had Buneja, he's at 69. You had number 18, number 27, he's at 49. Okay? So just to round it off, plus minus over 300 caps in one team. And we don't have that. If you look at Mokwena, how many? 4 caps, 2 goals. Okay, fine, give it. Then you look at Mayambel, you look at Mayo, all of them. The only people with more caps now, it's Mokwena, it's Tshwane, it's the goalkeeper, Williams. And that tells you our team is still very young, though maybe by age number, we're not that young. But when it comes to caps, we are very young. And we fought against a team that has played, some of the players in that team have played in 4 AFCONs. And some of the players that we had there played in non-AFCONs. Some of them played in the World Cup qualifiers. And we had players who played non-World Cup qualifiers, even including the one that we're playing in now. Only some of them played against Benin and against Rwanda. So the question is, what do we do with what we have at our disposal? So Hugo Broos has got to work out a strategy whereby when we meet Nigeria in June, are we going to say to Nigeria, we are afraid of you because you've got all the European-based players, besides their goalkeeper based in South Africa, who is on the move, by the way. I heard somewhere that he's on the move coming to Joburg. I just heard that. But the question is, don't laugh, serious. What if we beat Nigeria again at home? We've beaten Nigeria again at home. In the qualifiers, we beat them 2-0. Remember, Rantier scored there in Nigeria, in Abuja. We can do that again. They thought we had a weaker team even at that time. This time around in the AFCON, they beat us 1-0. But guess what happened? We could have beaten them as well. Now we go into their backyard in Nigeria. I don't know where they're playing as yet. But anything can still happen. If we bring that strong belief that we have, and we still produce a performance like the one that we produced during AFCON against the same Nigeria, against Cape Verde, against Namibia, and against the DRC, against anybody that we play against for that matter, even including against Morocco, which was the favorite of the tournament, and because they're top-ranked country in Africa and top-ranked country on the FIFA rankings, including what we played, how we played against Algeria yesterday. Why can't we beat Nigeria at home? We have sent all the signals. It's how we plan, and we plan around them. They should be worried about us. We shouldn't be worried about them. They are playing at home. We are visitors. So we should take the game to them, because they will be sitting on their laurels thinking that, yes, it's that week, Bafana again. But now we always bring a surprise, which is what we did during the AFCON. It doesn't matter how many goals we scored in terms of penalties or not, non-penalties. I'm totally not for whether we scored penalties or not. Football has got penalties, so that if you cannot convert during regulation, you need to win by penalties. If you can't score direct, that means somebody must foul you, or there must be a handball, and then there must be a penalty given to you. So it's part of football. We have to learn to understand that. Yes, entertainment is what we want, because it's the nature and culture of our football to entertain. But sometimes I feel that you'll entertain and then lose the game. What's the point of entertaining and losing the game? We're not talking that we're scrambling for small things here now. No, we're looking for bigger things now. Yeah. If you can get number 3 at AFCON, that means we are looking at qualifying for the World Cup, and not go to the World Cup and become passengers at Copacabana. No. We want to go to Mexico and Canada and USA and play good football and come with at least a good result. Maybe go to the last 16 for that matter, if everything goes according to plan. But against Nigeria, we have everything that they have. Look, we had Mvala. People don't even respect Mvala for that matter. And Osimhen, do you know Osimhen didn't score against us? No, he didn't. They had their best players. I mean, Uzechuka was there. He couldn't score. They had Simon, all of them. But managed only 1 goal against a weak team, a so-called weak team, Bafana. Only determination, only the passion that we have, tenacity and the aggression that we showed against Nigeria will make us beat Nigeria at home, or at least come back home with a draw.
Tatamseto, I want to ask you one more thing.
Yeah.
Hugo Broos, how so well about to and interacting with people in football? Are people starting to come around to Hugo Broos, or will it be a situation that once he leaves, that's when we're going to remember or give him his props?
I think every coach, when he arrives, there'll be skeptics. There'll be those who believe in him. Look at his record, okay? He has only lost once against North Africans. As an example. Only once, all right? And that was against Morocco for Bafana during the AFCON qualifiers. Besides that, when he was coaching Cameroon, he never lost against a North African team. He won 2 and played 2 draws when I aired yesterday's game. Good enough. Now, this man, he won the Champions League in Belgium with Anderlecht in the 70s or 80s. He was a good player. He knows football. He understands football. He's got a serious qualification in football. That's why he won AFCON with Cameroon. When he won the AFCON with Cameroon, he didn't have the best players that Cameroon could produce. No, he didn't. In 2017, he had some of the, I would say, mediocre Cameroon players. and one or two best players of Cameroon, but not the best of Cameroon, but still managed to win the championship. Now, to answer your question on that one, many fans were skeptical about Hugo Broos because some didn't know who Hugo Broos was. Hugo Broos came here, he didn't know the players. He took from what he was told, and he had to start from zero ground to learn and understand and know the players, their behavior, their behavioral patterns, their football culture, football behavior, and all. And slowly had to build the team. Remember, he went over 15 games unbeaten with the same team that we were talking so bad about.
Yeah.
The only first loss was Morocco in the qualifiers. And then since then, he never lost until he lost to Rwanda in Rwanda during the qualifiers in that bad ground. So the question is, again, does Hugo Broos understand our football? I think now he's got the grip of it. He understands how we play football. And fortunately, with all the lot from Sundowns, it makes his job so easy that he can have 6-7 players from Sundowns. He knows he doesn't have to coach them much, but he can have a plan around them. And then have other players from other teams. You still have Bongiko Setlongwane, who's bringing goals that are coming out of fashion in America. Don't forget about him. He can be our answer to our problems. Because during the FIFA break, he's allowed to travel from the MLS, USA to come here. You know, the same as in Jabulo Blom. Though people say we should not recycle. I don't know if that would be fair on the boy, but if maybe there are issues, we don't want to bring any new problems into the team. The team is consistently growing together as a team and growing together as a performing team and getting the result that are desired by the nation. So Hugo Broos must stay. And secondly, this team, all the fans are now starting to realize that this man is capable, and I'm one of them. I saw on my Twitter account as well that many people yesterday and this morning have been saying Hugo Broos must stay. If you lose this man gonna have problems starting all over again. How do you get a new coach just before the World Cup qualifiers?
Yeah.
Fine. Somebody can argue and say Algeria's got a new coach. They got rid of the old coach during AFCON. Yes, but they did bad. We didn't do bad. We did well. Past the same Algeria that we played draw against, ranked 45th in the world and us ranked 58. We played better than them yesterday. Yes, on counter they were better than us, but because they managed to score from all those counters that they had against us. But the question is, does Hugo Broos understand that going to Nigeria is going to be a different ball game? He must plan differently. He must sit down with the technical people, send scouts overseas and look at these players. We know who's Nigeria going to pick. They're not going to pick a different team. They're going to pick the same team that we've been picking for the past 6 years. The difference is only 2-3 players.
Okay, no. Thank you so much. Let me go to Agent. Agent, how do you feel about Broos? Number one, and then number two, looking forward to Nigeria. Are you confident going into the Nigeria game after these friendlies that we've played now? Where do you stand on this? Oh, and guys, before you go, can we get to 15,000, guys? The show is about to end. Can we get to 15,000 likes and more gifts? Thank you to the people who've been gifting. Agent.
No, you know my stance on Bruce has always been the same from the beginning, and it won't be changed by people like Sinje, it won't be changed by people like Sinje, not in this world at least, but on a serious note, Jesus turned water into wine, rose the dead, made the blind to see, but the hearts of the Jewish were hardened, So you always have hardened people like Sinje, So those we can't, we can hear them, but we shouldn't pay attention to them, but I think even anyone, Hugo Broos is not man. He won't be loved by everyone, So I think he knows that, and he has to accept that. Those who like him or like him, those who don't like him don't like him, and it's absolutely fine. So yeah, I think for me, like I said, from a selfish point of view, I would have preferred if he retired or resigned after this, because I don't know how far. This was the perfect opportunity for him to go with his head held high without being fired, without anything. But from a patriotic point of view, I'm glad that he continued. So yeah, I think he has to continue, you know. And to the Nigerian game, I think it would be an interesting one, because I think we lacked speed against Nigeria, and those guys were super slow. Hey, they were super slow. I think if you can be this quick against Nigeria, no, we'll definitely eat something, you know. And hopefully, hopefully a bandaged Umvala will be back, and Muda will be back, and Oyaya will be back, you know, and Tau also there, and everybody like that. So I think, yeah, we stand a very good chance to beat Nigeria. So yeah.
Okay. Hey, we stand a very good chance. I can say it, but let's go to CJ. CJ, how should we feel about Bruce as the public, number one, and then how are your feelings about this Nigeria game?
You know what? I don't like Bruce one bit. I don't like him. I don't like his football. I don't like his philosophy. I don't like his utterances. I don't like. I think we just should just give him Sasa card pension. But anyway, but there's one thing. There's one thing that I do like. There's one thing that I do like. You start something, you must finish it. And I'm a strong believer that he started something. Let him stick around until he sees that he's done. I don't. Let's go to Nigeria. I'm not confident as Jesus' disciple here below me. I'm not confident in a result, in a positive result. I think at best we are going to come back with a draw. That's because that's what we do best. Yeah, so yeah, man. Listen, let Hugo Broos support us, and our agent. I have never heard him. He says that he's a supporter. I've never heard him saying that he's going to watch Bafana game. I have never. Have you ever heard agent saying he's going to watch a Bafana game? He hardly goes to Sundowns game, and he knows that team needs as much of his support there. All 57 of them. But he hardly goes. I don't know why. Since he's a strong believer. But anyway, it's fine.
I had to go to Sundowns game. Hi, correct there. I'm always there, man. How?
Why does this have to be personal, guys? Why personal? Okay, so look, I'm looking at the time. I don't think I'll be able to put anybody in right now. Agent, can you give me your closing statements for tonight? Evan, agent, are you still with me?
Yeah, I think my closing statement is very simple. That, you know, let's give support to the guys. You know, it was very interesting to see Nelson Mandela being full. You know, hopefully the next game, even if it's qualifiers, they shouldn't go to FNB, man. Even if they come to Loftus, will come, some of us, even if they go to Dobsonville, not Dobsonville, but I mean, what is this, Durban Stadium, Moses Mabita, you know, they shouldn't go to FNB, because I was seeing they don't want to support our team, you know. So I think also the SAFA should do a better PR team management. They should do better activations for the game so that the stadium can be full, you know. The same way people do activations for useless games, you know, should do the same for our country. So I think they have to do better on that side, and I hope wherever it will be hosted, even if it's free, man, even if it doesn't have to cost an arm in the league, man, so that boys can play in front of a packed stadium. So yeah, I think that's my final statement, that we need to support the boys.
Okay. Sinjay, closing statement.
Did I hear agent saying even if it's free? Hey, Sundowns tendencies. They want to get into the stadium. Mr. Oti, how much is a PSL ticket?
You guys are the worst. You guys are the worst. Hey, Mara.
How much is a PSL ticket?
Isn't it?
Roughly, how much are they?
40 to 60, isn't it?
Chiefs is playing Chippa United at Absa Stadium on the 6th of April. The ticket is 100 Rand. That's because Chiefs, it's Chiefs. Not 60 Rand, not 40 Rand, not Mahala. Not Mahala. It's 100 Rand. That's the cheapest ticket. So now we are being asked to support Bafana for free. Yeah, this thing is pathetic. Sundowns and its tendencies. We must accept Sundowns for just J for the field. Guys, I want to agree with Agent for once. I think this team deserves our 100% support all over the place. I think let's give it the same energy we gave 2010 Feel It Is Here, the same energy that we've been giving rugby, the same energy that I think Banyana and Bafana now raising up their hands, putting our Boshem, bangabantwana balapha ekhaya, even though bafika about 30%, 40% uphela konyaka, we need to support them wholeheartedly, and they must feel our support as well. Yeah, so, but again, it's okay. Even if they bring bronze medals, other people bazalek, but it's fine. Let's support them. I agree. Let's support them. I'm going to buy that Bafana white T-shirt and that Banyana black one, just to show that I am in support of Banyana and Bafana. And these Sundowns fans must stop coming here with tendencies of going to the stadium mahal. I'm spoiled brats.
Guys, CJ. No, thank you, CJ. Look, this is what I'm going to say. I think that whether you like it or not, whether you believe in him, whether you don't believe in him, whether you like the team or you agree with the players who have been chosen, I think at this point in time, Bafana is a team that deserves to be supported. I think Bafana coming back with a bronze medal from the AFCON, Bafana coming in and playing these games, Bafana actually having a very good record under Hugo Broos is something that should be celebrated, and something that for a very long time we have not had a reason to have these conversations. Guys, I've done this show for quite a bit. I've done the show for maybe a year and a half, almost 2 years, and there's been very few occasions where we've spoken about Bafana or had conversations before that, before this show and all of that, where we were earnestly having conversations. In fact, a lot of people didn't even know when Bafana was playing. But here comes a team that does well at AFCON. Here comes a team that has been representing us very well over the past few years. And still, we fight and we claw and we do all of these things, right? Yes, there can be questions. Yes, we can criticize. Yes, you can ask about the tactics. Yes, you can ask about certain things. But at the end of the day, let's support. Let's not have our criticisms be just negative for the sake of it. Or maybe let's try and build it. Guys, Hugo Broos has done the job. Hugo Broos has done the job. And I think one of my worries is that we're letting our want for beautiful football to dala ingasisi anywhere. Now Umuntu is playing something. And whether we enjoy it and whether we love, they're winning. We've got a winning side. So let's get behind them, guys. Let's get behind them. Let's support them. They've represented us well, as we've done, as well as the Banyana. Guys, Banyana are reigning AFCON champions. They went to the World Cup that side and they did very well. Yet, for some reason, we still don't support them. I think it's time for us to put aside our little differences. It's time for us to put aside our Sundowns biases and unbiases. Sundowns this, the players that are being chosen. Let's put that aside and support the side. What we saw versus Algeria, just to touch on the game, what we saw versus Algeria was a messy game. It was a messy game. And I think we enjoyed it more for the game than for our performance. I think defensively we still have a couple of issues. So Mudiba has always been spoken of as an inverting left back. At Mamelodi Sundowns, he plays almost all the way on the left wing in a back five so that he can go inside to the field and become an extra midfielder. That's how Sundowns cheat when they play Umudiba. So seeing him in a back four is shaky because you watch him. At some point, you see he gets bored. And he's like, I need to go forward and form part of this attack. It's part of his DNA. It's part of how he plays, right? So Hugo Broos has to come up with ways to shield that. Or maybe you do the thing that Rulani said, move him into midfield. Sundowns cheats by having midfielders in defense, midfielders in midfield, so that they can play this progressive game that we love seeing, right? But they're not doing it with pure defenders. Why then are we asking for that with our with the players that we're getting from them? Then we go to the front. You cannot fault the commitment of the players from yesterday, but I think Bafana still struggles with having a way to score, a move to score. If you watched Algeria yesterday, there was patterns to how they were playing to try get their players almost in one-on-one situations where utrepa wrong but you can tell, okay, but move. So then they move there, then they put the ball here, then this is how they're going to score. I'd love to see that with Bafana, especially with the dynamic players that we have right now. We've now all seen that Makhupa doesn't necessarily have to be our striker, right? He doesn't have to be the guy. And for his limitations and what he brings to the game, we can bring something different. So it was very weird to me to see Reynolds dropping back. In as much as he's adapting to the team, we know what his strengths are. Why not create situations where Reynolds can get the ball in comfortable situations that he's used to, right? With him on the pitch. We know Apolis is fast. We know Reynolds is good on transition. Maybe create more of those opportunities. We saw how good Tshwane was in transition versus Namibia when we're playing a truly counter-attacking direct game. Maybe experiment with those type of things, because for me, we lack that. And maybe it's not just a Bafana idea. It's also a South African idea where our strikers don't know what to do most of the time. And I don't think they're being given plans. Okay, we see that you're talented. We see that you've got a bit of scoring. Mara, can we go 1, 2, 3, 4? This is our predictable thing, so that Natia's players, those players know how to get into position, where to go. I think we still struggle with South Africa, where we are relying so much on natural talent. We are relying so much on Tshwane popping up and putting it into the top corner. We're relying so much on those type of things that we forget that, guys, masenze nama move. Masenze nama tactics. It's almost like masfika ku final third, ama tactics ayaphela. It's like we stop thinking about how to go and score. And I think that is a very important thing that needs to be discussed at a national level. At a national level. I think that's why. But guys, I'm going to close it. Thank you so much for joining me. For those that have not followed, please follow. We got to 17,400 likes. Thank you so much. Thank you to Kumo, Kolani, Malibongwe, Malume Kuto, Busisiwe, Tumiso, and Mr. XO4. Thank you for the gifts there. Thank you to those who are watching on YouTube. Thank you to those who jumped in to join us. We were blessed to be joined by Ubaba Mthethwa, a legend in our game. This is what the platform is going to. This is what the platform is becoming. And it's all because of you guys. Monday to Thursday, 7 p.m. I'm here. Fridays, 12:30 is my members show. The members is where we have a lot more discussions offline on WhatsApp, where we speak in more depth. I've learned so many things from those people, and I'm sure that I can learn a lot from you guys as well. So if you want to join the WhatsApp group, go on over to YouTube, click on subscribe, click on join, and you'll gain access to the WhatsApp group where we go 24/7 and we teach each other more than anything. And if you think these conversations we're having now are incredible, you haven't seen anything. And if you do want to watch any of the previous conversations back, they are available in full on YouTube. You can watch. We've had some bangers of shows discussing things to a deeper level. So guys, please also support I'm a content creator. I do content. I have videos. I have TikToks. I have all those things. Please, if you can support me on that side too, that would be amazing. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for giving me your time every day. It really does mean the world to me that you guys take this platform as seriously as I do. Guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow, 7 p.m. Bye, guys.